presented to Guy Valvano in appreciation for your many years of service to the public, to sport fans of all ages. Best wishes from my car council president, Joseph Domnick, Mayor.
How was that for brevity, ladies and gentlemen? How about a nice warm... Boy, did he set the tempo. I better shut up here. Old flannel mouth was ready to talk all night. I even forgot who we have next, Mayor. You were too quick. I'm serious. Speaking of forgetting, my Aunt Winnie is here, my Aunt Winifred Calpin, and my mother. My Aunt Winnie is a couple years older than my mom, and they were at the kitchen table last Sunday. And Aunt Winnie, who's a heavy smoker, you know, we're products of our environment. You see me, I smoked about 2 packs already. Aunt Winnie's at the kitchen table down at Aunt Sadie's house, and they're sitting around the table, and Aunt Winnie says to my mother and my Aunt Sadie, she says,
Margaret, she said, let me tell you something, and she said, don't repeat this, you know how the neighbors are. She said, they are all vaccinated with Victrola needles. She said, before you know it, it'll be in that parade thing on Sunday. She said, don't repeat anything, but she says, I think I'm losing my memory.
And my mother, you know, my grandfather thought she was going to be a nun until she went to that dance in Manuka. My mom says, oh, Winnie, she says, that's a shit. Winnie said, keep quiet, Margaret. She said, let me finish. She said, I was standing at the bottom of the steps next to the heatrola, and she said, I looked up, and she said, then I looked down, and she said, I didn't know if I just came down or I was supposed to go up, she said. And my mother says, oh, Winnie, she said, that's a shame. God bless you, Winnie. She said, but you know, Winifred, she said, you do have me by a couple years. She says, and thank God that hasn't happened to me yet. She said, thank God and knock on wood. And she said, just a minute, Winnie, I think someone's at the front door. Ladies and gentlemen, a special gift from Rome sent by the Pope to honor a Mr. Valvano. And he said that this is for you, Guy. He come all the way across the sea for all of us to see and for Guy to be with. Let's have a big warm welcome for Father Guido Sarducci.
Hello, Father. Boy, buongiorno. He sounded like a Lawrence of Welk. Thank you, Gaynor. But this is a pleasure for me to be here tonight to pay special tribute to a nice guy like this. And he told me before I say anything, I got to make 2 announcements. Number 1, everybody going to get $10 for coming tonight. It's called the Valvano dinner rebate. So he's going to be over there by the door when you leave. And if you drove, you're going to get $5 more. So walk up to him and say, dinner rebate, I'll give you 10. And you have to say, dinner driver, I'll give you 15. I told you, he's a nice guy. And number 2, he told me he's going to write a story about everybody here tonight. That's right. I mean, the only thing is you got to die. He's going to do freelance. It's called Obits by Guy. Yeah, I kid you not. And he told me a couple of the titles he's going to put on the obits. Like if I died, it's going to be bogus priest that dies. Like suppose you're a football coach I mean, I don't want to name any names here. I don't want to hex anybody. But like I say, Coach Jones kicks off. That reminds me of this story. This little boy came up to his grandfather. He said, "Grandfather, can you croak like a frog?" He said, "What? What are you talking about?" He said, "Can you croak like a frog?" He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." So Grandma said, "After you croak, we can go to Disney World." And look at this over here. This is the Holy Trinity of Northeastern politics. We got a God of the Father in the middle, and a God of the Son, and a God of the Holy Spirit. Let's give a nice round of applause. Yes, this is nice. I'm going to have a good time. And before I go any further, I better tell you a little bit about myself, so that when I leave here tonight, you peoples don't say, "Who was that priest?" Like the Lone Ranger? Remember, he would ride into town and do all kind of good things, and when he would leave, the peoples would say, "Who was that masked man?" Besides, I don't have no faithful friend. I guess the closest I could come to a faithful friend is Bishop Tim Lin. Yeah, when I heard he was our new bishop, I thought he was Chinese, with the name Tim Lin. Then as soon as I saw him, I knew he wasn't, because he's way too tall. We are really good friends. He took him out to brunch one morning, and I was looking at the menu, and I said, I think I'm going to order tongue. He goes, "Oh, I would have never eaten anything that come out of an animal's mouth." So he turned around and ordered eggs. Go ahead, you couldn't clap. I'll wait for you. And he told me when he was in Ireland, he heard the confession. This fella come in, he says, "Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I just blown up 300 yards of the British Railroad." So Bishop Timlin said, "For your penance, do the stations." You like that one, huh? Go ahead. I told you can clap any time. And he told me there's 3 rings of a marriage. And I was surprised to hear this one. He said the first one's the engagement ring. The second one is the marriage ring, And the last one's the suffering. So I figured I told him a story about the Pope. When all of the cardinals got it together to elect the last Pope, John Paul II, I call him a Star Wars Pope. I call him J2P2. But anyway, when the Italian cardinals got it together, there was a Cardinal Scola, wonderful man. They thought he'd make a nicer Pope. And they said, okay, we're going to vote for him. But then they got to think, if we elect the Cardinal Scola Pope, he'll be Pope Scola. So they did away with that idea just like that. And there's 2 things he don't like. He said he don't like ethnic jokes, and I can understand that. I mean, I don't mind them, but sometimes they can be a little racy. And he told me he don't like M&Ms. He said they're way too hard to peel. I see a lot of nice-looking ladies here tonight. They got to make like a little confession. I consider myself to be a ladies' priest. You wouldn't expect me to get up here and tell you I consider myself to be a man's priest, now would you? I don't want to give you the wrong impression. Besides, I don't go for that AC/DC business. I may look like Zorro, but I'm no gay blade. And also, I'm everybody's priest. That's right, not only the Roman Catholics, but the Protestants and the Hebrews. I can prove it. I got my yarmulke on. Nice little old Jewish lady, she crocheted for me. And she charged me too. She got to buy the matzah, right? She got to eat. I eat the kosher candy, jujubes. And I get my kosher pizza from Januzzi's. I got to tell you this story about this rabbi was in his synagogue and he was lamenting. He was going, oh God, "Oh God, how could you do this to me?" I thought that was heaven up there with that mirror. He said, "How could you do this to me?" He's going on and lamenting, and all of a sudden he hears this voice, and the voice says, my son, what's troubling you?" He goes, "Who's that?" The voice said, "It's a God." He said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Oh God, my only son, he became a Christian." God said to him, "Yours too?" Just the other day, yesterday it was, at Florida State, the Penn State, I found out the difference between a Protestant Sunday school meeting and a football game. At a Protestant Sunday school meeting, they sing "Stand Up for Christ." And at a football game, they shout, "Sit down for Christ's sake." I got to tell you this story about Jerry Rice. You know, the all-pro wide receiver from the San Francisco 49ers? Well, he was walking down the street about a little over 2 years ago when the earthquake happened. And it just happened right there. It was outside of them. You know, everything started to shake and the buildings were swaying. And this one building, she catch on a fire. And this one lady throws the window open. She goes, help me, my baby." So he looks up. He said, "Hey, lady, drop the baby. I couldn't catch the baby." She was about 2.5, 3 stories up. She said, "How do I know you can catch? You don't look like no athlete." So he goes on to say, "I'm a Jerry Rice, all-pro wide receiver, San Francisco 49ers. I can catch." So she said, "Well, I guess I don't have any choice, so get ready." So she throws the baby out, and he has to make this diving catch about 6 inches off the ground. He gets up, he goes, "Nice catch!" He got more than 15 yards for that one. This is my favorite story. I love it to tell it about the 2 guys up at the Clark Summit State Hospital. They were going to leave one day. They got bored. They said, "We're getting out of here." So they hitchhiked, end up sitting on Lackawanna County Courthouse bench. And the one guy sitting there, he's pretending he's fishing. He's going like this. And he's casting away, and the other guy's just sitting there doing nothing. And here's the other guy going like that. So a cop walks by. He sees the other guy. He said, "I better check this out." So he walks up to the guy who's doing nothing, taps him on the shoulder. He said, "Oh, yes, officer, what could I do for you?" He said, "What's the matter with that guy?" He said, "Oh, him, he's a crazy, thinks he's a fishing." He said, "Well, do me a favor, get him out of here." He said, "Okay." I like that story. It's a great story. I'm going to put my raincoat on. This raincoat used to be a London fog, and now it's just a bigger mess. But anyway, I'm going to reach into my coat pocket. I'm going to go to my cigar, and I'm going to be Lieutenant Columbo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to put a damper here on your good time tonight, but I'm here to investigate a homicide. And I'll be damned if I can figure out this case. But I'd appreciate all the help that you possibly can give me, because if I solve this case, it'll be the 6th case I've solved in the last 7 months. I'll win a trip for me and my wife to Hawaii. Compliments of Mayor Domnick, Dunmore. I just want to say that I'd appreciate, again, all the help you can give me, because my 35th wedding anniversary is coming up, and I understand you're supposed to give pearls. I'd like to give my wife Pearl Harbor. I just want to remind you, anything that you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Not too long ago, I went to Plains, Georgia to see ex-President Jimmy Carter, and my visit went a little bit like this. Hello, everybody. My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm very happy and I'm very pleased to be here tonight. I didn't think you people still remembered me. At least you sure didn't show it in the presidential election in November of 1980. Well, I may have gotten mine then, but you sure have been getting yours for the last 12 years or so. And you've been getting it from none other than President Ronald Reagan. And now the Bushman. As far as my late brother Billy is concerned, God bless his soul, I never considered him to be an asset to me on my political career, although I considered him to be the first part of that word. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I love the Cowboys, and this is one of my favorite Cowboys, Gabby Hayes. Way deeper, Johnny. Roy Ryder is the best cowboy ever was. Why, there wasn't anybody any better. Why, when old Roy rocked 'em, he socked 'em. Why, Jeepers Johnny, there wasn't anybody any better. You better believe that, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much. Well, you know what I would like you to do, ladies and gentlemen? Would you just do me a favor? When you go down to your local supermarket, would you get some of those home cooking soups? You know, while you're there, would you tell them Jimmy sent you? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I love his 60 Minutes. And Andy Rooney, when he gets up there and he starts whining, did you ever notice how people always double park in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre? That really bothers me. You know what we ought to do? We ought to form a double parking vigilante committee. Somebody double parks, what we ought to do is lock their doors. Especially if they leave their motor running. And just wait there. And when they come out, say to them, does this bother you? And then just very politely say, doesn't bother me at all. I don't know if it would change the problem, but we would have some fun. And by the way, I hope you take 60 Minutes tonight on CBS. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I'm going to call on the guys and grandchildren. I'm going to do the impression they're going to have to guess, okay? Hello, Bert. Hey, Bert, did you see my rubber ducky? Bert, help me find my rubber ducky. Boy, you got to smart the grandchildren. You got to pay them. Everyone, you're going to get $50 for your guess. Okay? Hey, Froggy. Boy, it's so good to see you here tonight. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I don't believe it. Wow, that's another 50, guy. Boy, you're costing him a fortune tonight. Oh, Kermit. Oh, Kermit, you know that I love you. Just because I ride a motorcycle doesn't mean I'm a road hog. Okay, I'll see you later. We're gonna get going. Boy, that's bright the children. They got them all there, guy. That's all, folks. Boy, I don't know, you got to add it up because I didn't add it up. But I love it, this guy does the exercises on it, on the TV, Richard Simmons. Hello, hi, everybody. Guess what week it is? It's week number 65. And I'm going to show you what to eat a lot of and not put any weight on. And remember, if you're going to be eating all these wonderful desserts, you're going to have to exercise. And while you're exercising, you're going to have to breathe. Because if you don't breathe, you're going to die. Goodbye, thank you, God bless, and good luck, Guy Valvano. Thank you. Thank you.
Father Guido Sarducci. How do you like that, guy? 2 priests in one night, right? Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the Senate Democratic leader of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. His profound knowledge and experience has won him widespread recognition in Pennsylvania. I present to you Senator Robert Mellow.
Thank you very much, Gaynor. I think I'd like to try to go to confession to Father Guido. That might be a quite inspiring incident. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight. I've had the opportunity of knowing Guy for a number of years, and I only found out this evening that his name is Tony. In fact, when I heard somebody earlier this evening call Tony, a few different people turned around, but Guy didn't turn around. It's also very, very nice to see Nick Donato here. Nicky has the opportunity on Saturday of doing something that Coach Hinzes, who's also here, has had the opportunity of enjoying, and I only wish, Nick, you and your football team from North Pocono, the North Pocono Trojans, the tremendous amount of luck. And I believe there's no question in my mind that come Saturday afternoon at 3:30 that you will be the new champs of the Eastern Conference, and I want to congratulate you and wish you the best. You know, when I stand here before you this evening with my purpose here to make a presentation, I have nothing but a very strong and warm feeling. Because I've had the opportunity of knowing Guy for a number of years. I know a number of his associates, individuals that have worked with him. And I can only think for just a moment before I make the presentation what a great group of individuals that at one time were employed by the Scrantonian Scranton Tribune. Because when I think of a guy like Guy Valvano and I think of Al Williams, who both are here at the head table, Guy being honored, and I think of Jack Seitzinger, who's with us in the audience, and the late Jimmy Kalplin, who I had a tremendous amount of dealings with, especially with our Chick Fellman Foundation, and the other individuals that are here this evening that worked as part of that group, knowing full well what it means today, what journalism means today, and how important it is to get the free word out to people, whether it be in government and politics, or whether it be in sports or in writing in general. So when I had the opportunity of being able to spend a few minutes with you this evening, on behalf of Guy, I was very happy. Because back in early October, we were able to introduce a resolution that was passed unanimously by the Pennsylvania State Senate to pay tribute to Guy and his family on his retirement this particular evening. But I don't believe it's a retirement from active life. It's only a retirement going into another phase. Because Guy, you've done an outstanding job. As an individual who has lived in the Mid-Valley all my life, I've had a tremendous opportunity of following you, of following your career, and I've been able to read the articles that you have written over the years. And it's something that we are going to miss because as time passes on, there are people that are irreplaceable in the community. And I believe in our expanded community of Lackawanna County, northeastern Pennsylvania, a retirement of Guy Valvano was something that is irreplaceable. He's not an individual that you can replace very easily. And it's with that thought in mind, Guy, that I've been able to and have introduced a resolution that if a number of years ago when you were a little younger and so was I, I'd be able to read this resolution without putting my glasses on, but unfortunately the print is a little too fine today and I don't have my glasses with me. Plus, as Gaynor said, there will be a continental breakfast served later on after the program is over. He told me that he moved that up until 2 o'clock in the morning since there are a number of speakers to follow, but I would just like to make the presentation not only on behalf of myself, but also on behalf of the other 49 members of the Pennsylvania State Senate and wish you God well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mellow. Did the committee chairman mention about me playing sports or anything, Guy? Do you know? I don't know if he mentioned this or not, but I see Manny Gallup. He knows this. I was a great athlete. I was the last white man to dunk a ball at the Catholic Youth Center. That was in the 8th grade league. And I was 19. The only guy that was older than me at St. Patrick's was Joby Vankowski. No, I was a great professional boxer, though. I don't know how many in this room know that. I really was. I'm the only professional boxer who ever fought in the city of Scranton who knows how many lights are on the CYC ceiling. The Aricos used to put "Dine at the Roosie Bar" on the bottom of my feet when they carried me out. No, my knuckles were always sore after every fight from the referee walking on them. Seriously, though, everyone knows what a great fighter Jerry Tomasetti was. I once had Jerry Tomasetti down on one knee. He bent down to see if I was still breathing. On the back of my neck, you'll see "Tell Survey."
That's Everlast spelled backwards from the from the turnbuckles. Seriously, that's why nothing's getting done in Harrisburg. Who the hell cares about Harrisburg when you have friends like this? Stay home, yo. Drive a big car. Make a lot of money. You're the representative, you know. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I now give the audience a member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. He is presently serving in his 7th term in Harrisburg, and he is also a member of the House Democratic leadership. Let's have a warm welcome for Representative Fred Belardi. Representative Belardi.
Thank you, Gaynor. Honored guests, Guy Valvano and his lovely wife, Marie, family of Guys, Maries, friends. What a happy and wonderful crowd. Gaynor and Father Sarducci make sure of that. It's such a tribute to you, Guy, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. This is a moment that's long overdue. I'm pleased and very proud to be a special part of this evening in the honoring of this great man, or should I say, this great guy. The story of Guy Valvano is truly a success story. It's a story of a young boy, a young man, a product of Dunmore, embarking on a career and rising to the top of that career, and in doing so, earning the respect of his fellow man, his fellow workers, in his profession, and in his community. This morning I read an article in the paper, and it was an article of another friend of many of ours, Pat Ferrario, who was just selected Coach of the Year for cross-country running. In that article, Pat talked about the days, and I remember those days, when he walked the halls and the corridors of the schools looking to enlist students for cross-country running. It wasn't the glamorous sport that it is now. That reminded me of a conversation I had just a few days ago in talking about Guy with Patrick Connors, the brother of Mayor Jim Connors from the city of Scranton. Pat lives next door to Guy's brother Ange, or a few homes away. And Pat said that Guy was the type who took the time to write a non-glamorous sports article in 1974 about himself and others. And it was those articles that paid tribute to a not-so-popular sport that made it so, that gave the creation to someone like the king of cross running, Billy King, and other great cross-country runners. Guy just didn't write about the popular sports, but he wrote about sports, female in sports, and the fact that there were female players involved in sports, and that became something, too, that we all took great interest in and saw so many great female athletes. Guy was that special guy who reached out in the sporting world and wrote about the things that didn't really sell newspapers. There's one more element to the Guy Valvano story, and that's the motivation behind those headlines that he wrote and the bylines that he was given on his many, many stories. And that he came from an important tradition, and that's a tradition of caring, of being involved with his community, of loving what he was doing, and while he was doing it, sharing that love. So Guy, I come here with a citation on behalf of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. This citation is just one more thank you from a community who now says to this son of Dunmore, thank you, Guy Valvano. Guy, on behalf of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, on behalf of the Speaker of the House, the Honorable Robert O'Donnell, and on behalf of Gaynor Cawley and myself, and all of your friends, we present you this citation marking your distinguished career as a sports columnist, as an editor, as a citizen of this community, and as a friend. We wanted your achievements and your recognition, Guy, to be a part of the records of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and its journals of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I'll read it quickly. Whereas Guy Valvano is retiring after a distinguished career as a sports columnist and editor. And whereas a graduate of Dunmore High School, Mr. Valvano began his employment with the Scranton Tribune as a copyboy in September 1946, and later worked as a correspondent for the two Scranton newspapers. He became a member of the news staff in 1949, covering various beats before concentrating on sports. He was named assistant sports editor in 1972 and Sunday sports editor 1983. After the sale of the Scranton Tribune in 1990, he became a sports columnist for the Sunday Sun and Daily Sun, as well as a co-founder. In 1974, Bishop O'Hara High School in Dunmore presented Mr. Valvano with a plaque for his efforts in promoting the basketball dream game and for his high standards in reporting high school athletics. He was also honored in 1978 for his outstanding service to the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, PIAA District 2, and in 1988 as the recipient of the PIAA District 12 Sports Media Award. He was selected as Man of the Year by the Northeastern Chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame in 1987 and inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1990. Now therefore be it resolved, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania extends its congratulations to Guy Valvano on this occasion of his well-deserved retirement, applauds his outstanding professional achievements, wishes him the best for a richly rewarding future. The citation is signed by Representative Gaynor Cawley, myself, the Speaker of the House, Bob O'Donnell, and the Chief Clerk of the House of Representatives, John Zubek. Congratulations, Guy Valvano. We're very proud of you. Mr. Valvano's grandchildren will be passing to each table a guest book. We would appreciate it if everyone signed. Jim Davis, the chairman of District 2, PIAA, will now make a presentation to Mr. Guy Valvano. Let's show our appreciation for this gesture by Mr. Davis. Jim?
Thank you very much. Before I make this fine presentation to this wonderful gentleman, I just have a little story I'd like to share with you. And at one time I had to go to a meeting down in Lancaster. I was looking for the Lancaster Country Club, and it's a golf resort. It was in the winter. And I happened to get lost on my way going down. And I got myself off on a dirt road, and I was going on this dirt road. All of a sudden I saw a farmhouse. So I went up and I rapped the door at this farmhouse, and there wasn't anybody there. And I'm walking back to my car, and all of a sudden I saw a light coming out of the barn. I went over to the barn, happened to walk in there, and there was the old farmer doing his nightly chores, and he was chug, 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 chug on this old cow. And didn't even look up at me, but he knew I was there, and he said, yeah. I said, I was wondering, I says, can you tell me how to get to the Lancaster Convention Center? He says, yep. He says, go up to the block, first corner, take a right, go down the next red light, take a left, go down there 2 miles. He says, you'll find it. Never stop. Chug, chug, chug. I said, you know, I said, I'm a little bit late. Can you tell me what time it is? He said, didn't say nothing to me. Stopped milking. Picked up that bag on that cow. Picked it up a little further. He says, 6:15. And I said, well, no, I'm a little late. I said, but can you tell me how you did that? He looked up again at me, a little bit disturbed. He said, sit down. So I sat down on the stool. He says, pick up that bag. And I picked up that bag. He says, pick it up a little further. Picked up a little further. He says, now can you see that clock over there in the wall? Now, there's a little more to that story. Not hard if you know how. Guy Valvano knew how. He knows how. He knows how to do his job. He knows how to treat individuals. He knows how to treat schools. He knows how to treat people, administrators, but most of all, he knows how to treat kids. And that's why District 2 is here tonight. Guy, on this plaque, there is a medal. And that medal is only given to championship coaches and championship kids. And tonight, for the first time in District 2, it's going to a championship rider. On behalf of District 2, on behalf of all of the schools, the coaches, the kids, this is presented to Guy Valvano for outstanding service and contribution to the interscholastic programs of the member schools in District 2 PIAA, November the 17th, 1991. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Jim. And now, on behalf of District 12 PIAA, Dr. Arlene Moltov will now make a presentation to Guy. Let us welcome Dr. Moltov.
On behalf of our chairman, Pat Torquati, and the executive committee, I bring greetings to Guy and Marie. Both of them are sincere, loyal friends to District 12. And at this time, I'd like to present to Guy, from the executive committee and officers of District 12, Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, we are deeply indebted to you for coverage of PIAA events. Many students' careers have blossomed because of stories you have written about them. Thank you sincerely, and best of luck to you in your future years.
It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Charles Rushefski, the Executive Director of Northeast Athletic Conference. Let's have a warm welcome for Charlie.
I've known Guy for 4 decades. It's a long time. 40 years, I didn't think I'd be around that long. And it's nice to think that someone appreciates him, to see all the numbers of people that are here this evening. One thing Guy never did forget was the rural schools, the people out in the country. He thought about them, he had written about them. The other thing that sticks out in my mind, and in the minds of a lot of people to whom I had spoken, is that in all the things I've read that Guy has written, never have I read anything negative. It's always been a positive thing. So Guy, as a friend, and representing the Northeast Athletic Conference, the coaches, students, the executive committee, I'm proud to be able to give to you this award this evening, and I'll read what it says. Presented by the Northeast Athletic Conference to Guy Valvano, a dedicated man whose career was filled with helping athletes and programs of school districts. Many athletes and school districts and programs have reaped the benefits of your powerful written word. You'll always be remembered by the Northeast Athletic Conference. Congratulations, Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am looking forward to, as you are, to hearing from the next person presenting to Mr. Valvano, representing the Dunmore School Board, Mr. Jim Colangelo. Jim?
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Directors of Dunmore School District, our administration, our principals, and our faculty, and most of all our students, it's a great honor to present this plaque to Guy Valvano. This plaque has one part that I think is very, very important, and I'd like to read it. It means what it means to us and to our students, the most important part of those 45 years that Guy wrote about. Your contributions to our school district has a lasting impact on the academic, co-curricular, and interscholastic athletic programs of the Dunmore School District. This is so important, the lasting impact. And Guy, congratulations to you and Marie, and the best of luck in your retirement.
Making a presentation on behalf of the American Legion, a former great athlete, a friend of all of us in this area, Mr. Jerry Valonis.
In representing District 11 American Legion Baseball, I'd like to read the inscription placed on our plaque. Presented to Guy Valvano, in grateful appreciation for your loyal support of American Legion Baseball. Presented by District 11 American Legion Baseball League, this day, November 17th, 1991. Personally, Guy, on behalf of all of us in the Legion program, we'd like to thank you, and we're certainly going to miss you.
Guy, the U-Haul truck is on the way for that. He just mentioned to me about all those plaques and everything. Personally, he would appreciate it if he would much rather a mortgage payment or a payment for his car. He's a Democrat, you know. He's looking for a little greenbacks, you know. Representing the United States Harness Writers Association, and he is the national president of such, and also the public relations director of Monticello Raceway. Let us welcome Mr. John Manzi. John?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure for me to be here tonight. I've come over from Monticello Raceway to be here with Guy and Marie and Al and Betty and all you good folks. And unlike a lot of you here, I only had the pleasure of knowing Guy for maybe 17 or 18 years. First professionally as a PR man at Monticello Raceway, and then personally over the last decade or 12 years, I'm really proud to say that Guy and Marie are real great friends. I come here wearing two hats. One in behalf of all harness racing as the president of the United States Harness Writers Association, in which we've had so many members here in this Scranton Dunmore area, including Guy, who has been, 25 years? Guy, how many years have you been? Close to that. And we, in harness racing, appreciate all the great stories written about racing, too. I know when the Dunmore Choir was singing all those sports hymns, I thought maybe they'd get Camptown races. So now they're going to come back and do that now. But on behalf of the United States Harness Writers, and I have two presentations here, and I'll be brief. We have a present for you, Guy. I know you have a lot of plaques and distinguished gifts. We hope ours will be used too. And congratulations, Guy, from John and Earl Tunick and the members of the Monticello Goshen chapter. We love you. But I'm not done yet. Okay, you know, here's a man that wrote good things about good people, and this is a testimony. I know I run banquets too, ladies and gentlemen. To get 200 people out is a task. But what a tribute to this man here to have a crowd like this here. Let's hear it for Guy Valvano. And Guy, it was a black day at Monticello Raceway when first I heard that you were going to retire, and then with the demise of the Scrantonian and the Tribune, and the great coverage that you gave and your predecessors gave to Monticello Raceway, including Jimmy Calpin and Chick Feldman, who are great friends. But you have been many times in Monticello Raceway presenting blankets to the winners. So, right now, we have one for you. Right here, come here, guys. when you and Marie ease off on those picnics out in those secluded areas, this works very well. Guy,
Thank you.
Sharon and I love you.
Thank
and
you.
we all in racing love you, and we sure as hell gonna miss you.
Thank you.
But you're gonna be close to the mighty end. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Guy, if that's a little too big on you, you might want to put it around my shoulders. My mom always said, eat 3 square meals a day, Gainey. And I did. And that's the reason I'm 276 pounds. Square meals make round people. But thank God for stretchy skin. No blowout patches, you know? Just enough to send the very best. I lost my place again, that's the Who? I know. I'm only kidding, Father. Saw you Saturday. That's enough until next week. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Yes, Cawley, pull the ripcord. Let's get out of here. It's Holy Week. That's what they used to say at St. Pat's. Ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter is the man that was responsible. He was responsible for former Major League ball players such as Brooks Robinson, Ron Hansen, Jim Spencer. This man was responsible for those men making the journey up here to speak at the Shouts Teener League banquet. A former Dunmorean. He's been a resident of Baltimore now for many years. Let's have a warm welcome back and thank him for coming up from Baltimore with his lovely wife, Flora, Mr. Frank Yurkanin. Frank?
Thank you, Gaynor. Monsignor, the head table, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the committee for inviting my wife and I up here this evening to be part of this, and also the privilege to present Guy with something that I have from a good friend of his and mine. So I would like to present this to Guy. It's a photograph and a baseball. Guy, I want you to know that Brooks Robinson sent this picture autographed by him and this baseball to Guy Valvano. Brooks, best wishes, Brooks Robinson. Guy, I want to thank you for everything, and also the best wishes to you, your wife, and family. Good luck.
While I'm looking on the program to find out who's next, do you see the sparks up here, how fast we're moving? You're going to give me a round of applause if you'd appreciate it. Save the round of applause for Guy's grandchildren. They're going to make a little presentation to their grandpa. Come on up, kids. Let's have a round of applause for Guy Valvano's grandchildren.
Congratulations, Pop.
We all like to say congratulations.
We all like to say congratulations, Pop. We love you.
Go ahead. We're just not
Congratulations, Pop. And good luck in the rest of your life.
Hold it. Look this way. Wait.
You got everybody?
Guy, you have wonderful grandchildren. Let's have a round of applause for that beautiful word. See, verses from Dunmore, reared well, raised well, very polite, and I have to live in Hyde Park with Aunt Winnie. No, we did come from a poor neighborhood over in Hyde Park. Aunt Winnie didn't because, you know, Uncle Jimmy was worked. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a great big round of applause for Guy's former co-workers at the Scranton Tribune, Scrantonian, that are here tonight. Please stand up and be recognized. We were poor in Hyde Park.
You got the Harrisburg.
I don't know who said that about, I'll bet you when the stork that delivered them had a crash landing. No one said how poor. I don't know how poor. All I know is we had apple butter, that's all. And we had Pop McHale, and we had lots of beer at the beer garden, thank God. But we did have it rough. We were so poor, and our neighborhood was so poor, in fact, we had very, very severe mine caves. And the next day it read in the newspaper there was $15.5 million worth of improvements. Oh, it was rough over there, believe me. The only thing we had was a soapbox derby over on Luzerne Street. Remember that? And we didn't have that much money. And we're early. You know, the continental breakfast doesn't start until 2. So hang in there, lady shoppers. We were poor. At Christmas time, Freddie Battaglia gave me, and I was always wanted, like all kids, wonderful gifts for Christmas. And we, you know, we didn't get that much. Some coal sometimes if we were bad in the stocking, and once in a while, you know, Aunt Winnie'd come up the hill and bring some sandwiches. She'd get the rolls from Cohen's Bakery and the bologna with the mayo on it. That was delicious. But Freddie Battaglia gave me a little turtle for Christmas. And I was a spoiled brat. And I went to my mother about 3 days after he gave me the turtle, and I says, "Mommy!" She said, "What?" I says, "Mommy," I says, "look at my turtle. It's got blisters on its feet." She says, "Let me see that." What, you get hit with the ball again down the field? She said, "Let me see it." And I showed her the turtle, and she says, "My God, it does." So we got into the shopping cart, went down past the A&P, down to Woolworth's there, and she still had the apron on. She still had the apron on from Pops, and she walked in and she says, "Excuse me, let me see the manager, please." So he come out and he said, "Yes." And she says, "Look at this." She says, "My son's turtle has blisters on its feet," she said. And the manager says, "Yeah, are you on the prescription drug program yet, lady, or what?" She says, "Cut it out. The turtle's got blisters on its feet. Now look at it." And he took it and he says, "My goodness, it does have blisters on its feet." He says, "Lady," he said, "what do you want, your 29 cents back? And, you know, did you bring the flies back with you too? You know, what do you want, a refund or what?" And she says, "What do you want?" I says, "I want a new turtle, Mommy." She says, "Give him a new turtle." She says, "Check it out and make sure it doesn't have blisters." And he reached in on the counter there and he pulled it out and he says, "Here you are, sonny." And he gave it to me and I says, "Thank you, mister." And I kneeled down on the floor and I went, vroom, 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 vroom. We didn't have anything else to do back then. I mentioned this at a previous banquet about Arma Martinelli, and I'm going to mention about our principal speaker tonight. A good teacher tells. An excellent teacher explains. A superior teacher demonstrates. But a great teacher inspires. Ladies and gentlemen, our principal speaker, a great coach at the University of Scranton, and a great teacher, Mr. Connie Osianzi.